Squash XL Pro is an elite team that work hard to train, play and run squash events on our journey to climb the world rankings. Like, subscribe, comment, pick up some of our merch on Teespring.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the second to last men's quarterfinal of the day, and you can see the two players on court. We have Joel ARSCOTT, the fourth seed, in the white shirt and the black shorts, and the taller opponent, Finn XLPRO. He's about 6'3" in the old measurements, about 194 or thereabouts. From Northland originally, and with me Sean Wiggin. And Sean Wiggin, these two have played a number of times already this year in tournaments, haven't they?
Well, just to count, I think I know they've played Henderson, Enep the following week, Waikato a few weeks ago, and I believe they've had a few friendlies in the middle as well. So yeah, they've certainly played each other a lot. So it'll be fascinating how they handle each other today. And
I would say that all of those matches in tournament play have all gone to Joel. I think there's been a couple of close ones, but
yeah, the last one in Waikato was pretty close, 3-1. Yeah. So, and they were all pretty close games. So I think Finn's slowly starting to read how Joel's playing, and slowly giving their efforts. Really interested to see how he handles Joel today.
Well, of course, Finn XLPRO did have a very good victory in the first round yesterday, last night that is, and defeating Wills Donnelly in straight games. So a good win there. Wills Donnelly's had some very good results in tournaments over the last couple of months. That was a good win there for Finn, and I'm sure Northland will claim those. I'm sure is another will claim those as well. I bet it came from her. Just looking now, slower rally between these two. Going to get a little bit of traffic in the middle of the court.
Yeah, the key here for Finn today will be trying to maybe keep the rally maybe a tad shorter, because we know how much Joel can really dictate the points when it drags on. So that's when he's been on his game.
And just if anybody is around the country watching, or we've got one from overseas, we know that. Good to have you, Paul ARSCOTT, from Brisbane, from Queensland. And we know we've had people from Palmerston North and from Otago as well. So if you're anywhere else around the country, Northland, Waikato, you name it, let us know. Well, good change of direction there, almost caught out ARSCOTT. There go again. Trimble's had this rally, but back into it, Joel ARSCOTT.
Yeah, Joel did spin around in the first few points here. Doing a good job controlling it. Joel doing a great job controlling the tee here.
Oh, good retrieving again. What have we got? No let. There's the stare, the death stare. I think Finn XLPRO really controlled that rally very well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was in trouble originally, but did well to change up the pace here, get in front of Joel here.
I think he was patient enough to try and do one shot there, another shot there, another one, just keep going, and eventually it will come. And there you go.
Finn's very tricky at the front, so he's got to really want to try and find a way to use that front game, but of course he can't rush it to the lead.
He's very tall, like, say, Chris van der Zalm as well. They're quite tall players for New Zealanders.
Another tight ball there.
And let's see, Joel's had some good or mixed results over these tournaments. A couple that he's certainly not been happy at, and of course making the Henderson tournament the final and having those match points against Evan Williams. Other tournaments he's had a quarter-final loss, he's had semi-final losses, so he's there or thereabouts, but I wouldn't say he's been overly happy with the last few results.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily his game's been he's been playing too badly. I think he's just been very unlucky on catching an opposition that's really in form. Like, for example, Wills a few weeks ago, Wills was playing some outstanding squash there. And then You know, he's been very solid for most of the season so far. Took his opportunity very well at Henderson, of course, and very unlucky not to get the title there.
Yeah, it's always luck, isn't it, when it comes down to having those match points and then dropping it. I shouldn't say that. I'm not making fun of it. But it's one of those things when you have those match points and it just doesn't come off. So just having a look now, and good to have. Great. Yep, another Brisbane. We're huge in Brisbane right now. Keep it coming. That stayed in. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you happy with that call?
And it's a tricky one, but I think Joel may have taken the wrong line.
Yeah, he went, instead of going to the side, he tried to go forward and around.
So it's a bit of a tricky one there. It was a very nice shot from Finn as well, keeping the ball very tight there. They gave a let there. Job there moving Joel around with a very loose ball there. Suddenly Joel's on the attack now.
I don't think you can quite ask for much more than a net because Joel actually took a right foot to the wrong way. I think he was expecting a cross court. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Finn's in the past may have looked at doing a cross-court job there with his flick, but because he was able to hold it, sort of caught Joel out, and because Joel sort of created the interference, you know, you've got to give it as a net. That's the...
I don't think it was a stroke.
No. Well, the first rule is if the guy getting to the ball actually causes the interference with the wrong line, then it's technically a no let because he's caused the interference.
Yeah.
However, if the other opposition gets in the way and there is clear interference, it's of course going to be a let at least.
Yeah. Well, that one there, he was very fortunate that it was within his reach, so to take the ball on the pulse, so good play there from Finn XLPRO.
And after a few good points, just makes a really cheap mistake there. Didn't really need that one after a good run.
What about this wall? A glass front wall. It's a little bit unusual. You played on it this morning. How did you find it?
Yeah, I played it last night and this morning. I think it's certainly comes down much quicker than what a normal court is like. So if you extremely learned from one match last night, you've really got to get your length to take off. Especially these courts here, they sort of die very quickly at the back of the court. So if you can get that good length going, it can help you out really well. It certainly helped me in my game against last night.
That was your first win over Lance, wasn't it? I don't know how many matches.
I've had 2 match balls in the previous 2 meetings, so I'm very happy to have gotten that in 3 as well. So certainly happy to get that one out of my system now.
Good shot. That was a nice punch at the ball, keeping it low. A little bit of a boast off the side. He's had to work hard for getting to this game ball, hasn't he?
Yeah, we had a good lead at the beginning. I think got
6 love.
I think it was up 7-2 at one point. Then Finn started coming back. A few maybe cheap mistakes with Finn, and that's I think the big difference between these two now is just maybe Finn giving away these cheap mistakes.
Yeah, there was just a couple there. Oh, Johnny, don't. Yeah. Not sure what he's worried about there.
He's not happy with thinking a ball was out there, but he still got the point, so he just needs to move on.
So the first game, as you can see there from the score, 11-6 to Joel ARSCOTT. He had a 6-love lead, then I think it was 7-2, wasn't it, Sean? And a little bit of a battle back from Finn XLPRO, but not enough in the end.
Yeah, he just needs to cut out those crucial mistakes in this game. Like you said, he was in a good run there, from 7-2 back to 5-7, I think, and then put in a very cheap post into the tin, which is unnecessary. The thing that's stopping him from taking this sort of match out. He can't do anything about that point. He plays on goal there.
And just looking at some of the other results, of course, we did have Evan Williams, the top seed. He defeated Ben Ratcliffe in straight games, 5-3 and 7. And Ratcliffe, the 21-year-old from Australia, he's pretty good with holding the ball and taking the pace off it. And we're going to see Evan Williams up against Timur Chalisi in the semi-finals. An interesting contest. Those two have played each other a few times over the last few months as well. And I think for you, Sean Wigan, you're going to take on Ben Ratcliffe at some stage later on tonight.
We'll have a game tonight. It'll be an enjoyable match for both of us to play.
I'll be a fresh player as well.
Right. Trained a little bit with him when I played the Wallabies. Stayed with him when I played the PSA dividend a few times. So it's been an enjoyable experience to play him there. But of course, tonight, another big game between Evan and Timur there. Played a few weeks ago in Waikato in the final. That turned out to be a pretty tight scoreline there, but big difference this time around. Timur will be maybe a little bit more fresher.
Yeah, that's true.
Compared to last time, so it'll be very fascinating to see how that goes.
And the first of the semi-finals later on today is at 5:30, and that is Emma Miller up against Ella Lash. Oh, look at that boast. It's really interesting when people hit the side wall from so early or so far down the court. Yeah, is that when you're hitting the box, do you want to hit it closer to the front wall or further back? Is there any one that's better than the other?
It certainly depends on what game you want to play. Like you want to take the ball early, really need to take the ball as early as you can. Sometimes you want to hold just to catch your opponent out a little bit. Let's see, good movement there.
So it's obviously sunny in Brisbane, but we know that Paul Arscott is watching on some device or computer. I think it's sunny here as well.
It's good here in Auckland as well, but it's starting to get a little bit frosty the last few days. Winter is definitely starting to go up here.
Squash players love it when it's cold, don't they?
I'm not a massive fan. I'll enjoy maybe a colder. There's a famous Finn Trimble flick right there. Come up on that occasion.
Well, that's a good pickup. Yeah, well, I don't know what you asked there. Double bounce. I think there was a nice little scoop there from Trimble on the backhand, which put Joel Arscott into a little bit of trouble. Again, it
just makes up for it.
Yeah, exactly.
That must have been a scoop there.
It was again a solid lead to start with for Joel Arscott.
And of course, for any player in the later stages of a tournament, you want to get on and off the court as quick as possible. So the way Joel is going, it'll be a big scalp if he can not only get the win, but to get it done in really quick succession, knowing that also, there could be a really tough game coming out, playing the winner, of course, between the one with Chalisi and Zach Miller after this. So I'll certainly enjoy getting on and off the court as quickly as possible.
Joel Arscott controlling that point very well. I wouldn't say that Trimble gave up, but he knew he was done for in that point.
This is the moment now where Finn's just going to start hanging in. He can just maybe keep the rubber going. He can maybe force Joel into a few mistakes.
And out. Certainly Finn just has those rubber wrists. He can just sort of bend them any which way. Yeah, I don't know how he does it. That little flick that he's got.
There it is again. Didn't work on that occasion either. Joel right on top of it.
So racing through this one a little bit easier as such for Joel Arscott. And of course he won the first, and that was 11-6. And there we go. 11-2, and this is the second one. As we come back on for this, the third game of the penultimate men's quarterfinal at the PANMURE TECNIFIBRE Open. I think it's fascinating, Sean Wigan, when you see the 1983 World Squash Championship draw on the wall. And a certain Jahangir Khan won that one. It looks as though Stuart Davenport made the semis, the Kiwi.
Yeah, I think it was just before Rothmore started making a name here. So.
Stuart Davenport still heading around in the capital area. Doesn't have the long hair that he used to have when he was playing, but you can still see him on the odd court here and there.
Fun fact here, this is Ross Norman's old club as well.
Yeah.
So if you did not know that, this is where Ross Norman did play his. This is Ross Norman's club. So if you didn't know that, learned something new today.
Such an amazing story, Ross Norman. One of the stories of New Zealand sport. Parachute accident,
or even in his squash history being ending Jahangir Khan's incredible. How long was it?
500 and something matches.
I don't know how much it was, and in the World Champs final as well.
Exactly.
So it couldn't be even any bigger than that either.
There's some great history around the sport, including in this particular complex, as we're saying about Jahangir Khan winning a world title here. But in the meantime, on the court right now, it's a little bit of a longer rally.
Yeah, still the first point here.
I was thinking we should have played about 3 or 4 the way we were going earlier on.
Yeah, really good patience for one players just going down that back.
After all that.
And then after that, very nice cross court there from Joel.
And then the ball just sort of, but it was jammed in the corner. It was never going to come back
and
much.
That's how important the back court is here. If you can get that length going to the back, it can die pretty quickly like that. Very important here for Finn to get a good start.
That is a good start instead for Joel.
I think he was up 4-love in the first game, maybe
6-love.
5-6-love in the second game. So you won't want to be giving Joel another start like that. And it looks like it's happening again here, 3-love.
Well, after that first rally, which went for so long, and Finn was so patient in it, which is what he needs to do. Just these last couple of points haven't been what he wants.
Yeah, again, just maybe forcing the short ball too much.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well, did he lift that one? Did he get it out before the second bounce? What do you think? It's a bit tough to tell from here.
You can tell it's a scoop when it really drags up.
Yeah.
So I think that one was fine, but I think you can usually when it's a scoop when it really drags up. Almost like a lob drop sort of thing.
Sure.
That's sort of when it's a scoop because you're almost having to hit the ball twice to get it back.
And we have a string.
Broken string here for Finn.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough for any ref to call from backwards, and the players, when you've got a body blocking your way, it's a tough one, isn't it?
And in these courts, it's pretty hard as well to tell whether the ball's made it or not. The sound when close to 10 is very similar compared to other courts where it's pretty obvious when it does go into the 10.
So what's the noisiest court around New Zealand? Because some are noisier than others.
Yeah, it's a tough. I have to really go through it. I can't really think too much about that at the moment.
Just some you notice that you're like, whoa. But it's different on court and off court. I mean, Waikato was noisy last couple of weeks ago, but that was because of the crowd enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it wasn't too loud last 2 weeks ago.
They just had to tell the crowd to be quiet so the players could hear the score. But that's good though. I think that's actually great. I mean, it's hard for a player if they can't hear the score, but it's great.
Well, you think of what the Wellington Sevens used to be like.
Yeah, well, that was it.
It's pretty much what it slowly turned into there.
Now, I'm not sure where Finn's going to get his racket. Oh, there he is.
He's just picked up his racket now, walking along.
That's good that he found another racket.
Well, usually every player has at least 3 rackets for them to...
He just only had one with him, though. I think he had to walk down to the
you're given,
lounge.
If you didn't know the rule, you're allowed a minute and a half to fetching other rackets.
What about that warming up your racket? How long do you get for that?
The referees do try and ask you to.
Oh, he
play
had 3 shots then. That was it.
You know, when you think of it like tennis, where you've almost got to play on straight away, you don't get a practice hit straight away. It's sort of like that in soccer as well. You just got to go straight into the rally. But you always try and make your rackets pretty similar.
Yeah.
So that way you're not having to change up too much.
Well, I'm not sure where he was going to go, but then he played it back.
Yeah, just got a bit tangled up there, Finn. That probably was a clear stroke on that occasion. That's probably the first mistake I've seen Joel make today. He's been very consistent today.
Nice play, slapped that one away to Finn. Joel, great recovery. Great point.
Quick pace from both players now. Oh, that's well played. That's a great shot there from Joel there.
A great rally as well. Certain times we had Finn controlling a little bit more in a better position, and then Joel coming back and playing that one nicely there with the backhand volley.
Joel again starting to get a bit of a lead here, 7-2. Just have to wonder how much the match last night against Wills maybe took a bit out of Finn here. That's a really nice shot there from Joel. Just got the right pace. Of course, we're playing on a 17-inch tin there, so it's even harder to execute there as we're not quite as used to playing on a 17-inch tin.
What about for the Auckland Open? Is that going to be 17 inch?
Yeah, that'll definitely be 17 inch there. Already been talking to Tyler about sorting out the courts there.
They're your courts anyway, so you've been talking to Tyler trying to just make it friendly for you? There's a second era of this particular game.
We want to make sure the courts are up to standard. We know how big
up to your standard is what you're after, I think.
No, for all the players.
And it'll be great to have some of the Australians coming across just to make that, top couple of seeds in the women's. I think 3 out of the top 5 in the men.
Yeah, I think we've got 6 men coming for the event, and maybe 3 or 4 women as well.
Yep. Well, a hopeful question there from Finn. It was never going to really come your way, unfortunately, Finn. And Joel ARSCOTT looking very good here.
Tough one there. I think it was probably a double. It was a very tight call on that occasion. But Joel shouldn't be worrying too much about that now. He's still got a good lead here. I'm going to give it up. Finn's not quite executing those loose balls today. Just maybe coming up a bit loose, following those. Probably was a lead on that occasion. Better shot there.
So the last of the quarterfinals coming out will be Zach Miller And he's going to take on Luamba Chalisi. Zach will be warming up now, of course.
Warming up by watching this game.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not even got the gear on yet to play.
Oh, he's always ready. He's mentally preparing right now. We can see him just next to us. And
yeah, so Joel not happy with the call there from the referee on that occasion. They've given it a lead on that occasion. Well played. Oh, he tried the Will Stop special there, didn't quite pay off there. I would have just gone for a faking and a dropping, that would have got him there. So he got match.
I mean, it was fun to watch anyway.
Yeah, the execution wasn't quite.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
He tried to fake it again, but that time he just goes straight. Should have done that previously.
Exactly.
Joel still has 5 match balls here, 5-10.
So much chop on that one. More chop
That's
again.
another shot there. We haven't seen too many of those drops today from Finn.
Well, he's just coming right under it, spinning around and under, then back towards his body. It's an interesting shot. It's worked the last couple of occasions.
Good hold there from
well, there you
Finn.
go. There's good 3 points coming back.
Yeah, is it too late though?
Yeah.
Or do we have a big comeback on our hands here?
Well, it's going to be pretty tough.
Still got 3 match balls here, Joel. Tight down the backhand again.
Oh, there you go. That makes it interesting, doesn't it?
It's always fascinating when you see someone starting to come back. 8-10 is when things start to...
The momentum's now with Finn.
Yeah.
Despite the match
And then just as you say that, it's the loose one and Joel.
that momentum didn't mean anything in the end. Well, that was 11-6, 11-2, 11-8 in the end to Joel ARSCOTT. He goes through to the semi-finals, where he will play the winner of, well, Zach Miller once he warms up, or Luamba Chalisi there.